The St. Louis Blues organization faces a pivotal moment as the current NHL season progresses, marked by a challenging performance trajectory. General Manager Doug Armstrong confronts critical decisions regarding the roster, particularly with the trade deadline looming. This discussion focuses on specific players, Philip Broberg, Joel Hofer, and the team's promising young core, who, despite the team's struggles, represent invaluable assets that should remain untouched by any potential trades. The objective is to identify individuals crucial for the franchise's long-term stability and future competitiveness, ensuring that short-term adjustments do not compromise foundational elements. The St. Louis Blues are currently navigating a difficult period, characterized by what many observe as a seemingly endless spiral down the standings. This performance decline inevitably fuels speculation regarding significant roster changes. As the trade deadline approaches, anticipation builds for substantial moves and trades, potentially involving key pieces of the current team. This analysis aims to highlight players who have consistently demonstrated their value and possess the potential to be cornerstones for the Blues' future success, arguing for their retention amidst the anticipated upheaval. Doug Armstrong, as the general manager, holds the ultimate responsibility for these crucial roster decisions, tasked with balancing immediate needs with long-term strategic planning. The underlying theme of this evaluation is the identification of players essential for constructing a competitive team over the long haul, rather than merely addressing present deficiencies with short-term solutions. For instance, Philip Broberg was acquired from the Edmonton Oilers in an off-season offer sheet less than 2 years ago, a move that signaled a specific strategic vision at the time. Similarly, Joel Hofer began the season as the backup to established goaltender Jordan Binnington, a familiar dynamic within the team's goaltending structure. Philip Broberg, a defenseman, stands out as a player whose potential outweighs any current trade considerations. Acquired in a strategic move from the Edmonton Oilers, Broberg represents a significant investment in the team's defensive future. His transition to the Blues has shown glimpses of a high-ceiling player, combining size, skating ability, and a developing defensive acumen. While his offensive production may not yet be elite, his defensive reliability and fundamental skills are steadily improving. Trading Broberg now would be premature, effectively abandoning a project that has yet to fully mature. The Blues need to commit to his development, allowing him the necessary time and opportunity to integrate fully into the NHL pace and system. His presence offers a blend of youth and defensive upside that is difficult to replace, particularly for a team looking to rebuild or retool its blue line. His contractual situation also makes him an attractive long-term asset, providing cost-controlled talent for several seasons. Retaining Broberg signals a commitment to cultivating young talent and building from within, a crucial strategy for sustained success in the modern NHL. His continued growth is integral to the team's defensive structure for years to come, making him an untouchable piece in any trade discussions. Joel Hofer, the Blues' young goaltender, presents another compelling case for retention. His emergence as a reliable backup, and at times a formidable starter, has been a significant positive this season. The goaltending position is notoriously difficult to fill with consistent, high-level talent, and Hofer has demonstrated the composure and skill required to succeed at the NHL level. His numbers, when given extended playing time, have often been competitive, providing stability in net even when the team in front of him has struggled. With Jordan Binnington as the established starter, Hofer's progression creates a strong tandem, offering both insurance and a clear succession plan. Trading Hofer would create a significant void in the goaltending depth chart, forcing the organization to either spend assets to acquire another backup or rely on unproven prospects. Such a move would be counterproductive, particularly given the importance of strong goaltending in today's league. Hofer's age and potential trajectory suggest he could become a legitimate starting goaltender in the NHL, making him an invaluable asset for the Blues. His development arc is currently pointing upwards, and disrupting that progress through a trade would be a misstep. The team needs to invest in his future, recognizing that a strong goaltending foundation is paramount for contention. His potential value far exceeds that of a mere trade chip. The Blues' current standing in the league, characterized by a seemingly endless spiral down the standings, necessitates a critical evaluation of the roster. This challenging season has intensified speculation regarding impending trades, with many anticipating significant moves involving key pieces as the trade deadline approaches. The goal of this analysis is to highlight specific players who have consistently demonstrated their value and, consequently, deserve to remain with the team amidst these anticipated changes. General Manager Doug Armstrong is tasked with making these crucial roster decisions, which will ultimately shape the team's future trajectory. The underlying theme behind retaining these players is the commitment to building a competitive team for the long term, rather than seeking short-term fixes that could compromise future stability. The St. Louis Blues find themselves in a precarious position, navigating a season marked by inconsistency and a struggle for sustained success. This challenging period has inevitably led to discussions about potential roster overhauls. As the trade deadline looms, the expectation is that Armstrong will be active in the market, seeking to retool the team and potentially acquire assets for future contention. However, not all players should be considered expendable. Certain individuals, through their performance, potential, or strategic importance, represent foundational elements that should be shielded from trade talks. The focus must shift from immediate results to the identification and retention of players who can contribute to a more successful future. This requires a nuanced approach, distinguishing between players who are part of the problem and those who are part of the solution, or at least possess the potential to be. The Blues' current struggles underscore the importance of strategic asset management. While a desire for immediate change is understandable, sacrificing promising young talent for short-term gains often proves detrimental in the long run. The organization needs to identify its core, those players around whom a competitive team can be built. This is particularly relevant in a league where sustained success often hinges on a blend of veteran leadership and burgeoning young talent. Armstrong's decisions in the coming weeks will reveal the direction the franchise intends to take. Will it prioritize a complete rebuild, or will it attempt to retool on the fly? The retention of specific players, as discussed, will be a strong indicator of this strategic direction. Considering the team's current performance, which has seen them consistently drop in the standings, the pressure on Armstrong to make impactful changes is immense. However, impact can be achieved not just through acquisitions, but also through the judicious protection of valuable assets already within the organization. The narrative surrounding the team often focuses on what they lack, but it is equally important to recognize and preserve what they already possess. This perspective is vital when evaluating players who, despite the team's overall performance, have shown individual promise and contribute positively to the team's long-term outlook. The upcoming trade deadline, therefore, is not just about who the Blues might acquire or move, but also about who they unequivocally decide to keep. The strategic importance of these decisions extends beyond the immediate season. Every trade and retention decision contributes to the broader organizational philosophy and the future competitive window. For a team experiencing a seemingly endless spiral down the standings, the temptation to make drastic sweeping changes is high. Yet a more measured approach, one that carefully identifies and protects key assets, is often more effective in building a sustainable winner. The players discussed represent not just individual talents, but also embodiments of the team's future potential. Their retention would signal a commitment to a long-term vision, recognizing that true success is built on a stable foundation of promising players and a clear developmental pathway. The ongoing challenges only amplify the need for such foresight. The Blues' strategic decisions regarding their roster must therefore prioritize these specific individuals. Philip Broberg, for instance, represents a significant investment and a crucial component for the defensive core. His acquisition less than 2 years ago from the Edmonton Oilers via an offer sheet demonstrated Armstrong's confidence in his potential. Broberg's development, while not always linear, has shown flashes of the high-end defenseman the Blues envisioned. Moving him now before he reaches his full potential would constitute a premature abandonment of a strategic asset. His presence offers youth, mobility, and puck-moving capabilities that are essential for modern NHL defense. Trading him would not only represent a loss of a promising player, but also a concession of the resources previously expended to acquire him. The long-term vision for the Blues' blue line should unequivocally include Broberg. Joel Hofer's situation presents a different, yet equally compelling argument for retention. Initially serving as the backup to Jordan Binnington, Hofer has demonstrated capabilities that suggest he could be a future starting goaltender in the league. His performances, particularly when given extended opportunities, have showcased composure, athleticism, and a strong fundamental game. Goaltending is a critical position, and having a young, cost-controlled netminder with starter potential is an invaluable asset. While Binnington remains the established starter, the transition plan for the goaltending position should involve Hofer assuming a larger role over time. Trading Hofer would create a significant void in the organizational depth chart, at a position where stability and future planning are paramount. It would necessitate acquiring another goaltender, either through trade or free agency, a process often fraught with risk and expense. Retaining Hofer ensures a seamless succession plan and provides the team with a strong tandem in the interim. Beyond these individual cases, the young core of the Blues represents the collective future of the franchise. This group includes players who are either recently drafted, still on their entry-level contracts, or in the early stages of their NHL careers. These are the players who, through their development and integration, will define the competitive window of the team in the coming years. Sacrificing members of this core for short-term fixes would undermine the entire rebuilding or retooling process. The organization has invested significant draft capital and developmental resources into these players. Their continued presence allows for internal growth, fosters team chemistry, and provides a foundation for sustained success. Examples include players who have shown flashes of brilliance, demonstrated consistent effort, or are still projected to reach higher ceilings. Their value is not solely in their current performance, but in their future potential and their role in establishing a new identity for the team. The strategic imperative for Doug Armstrong is to differentiate between assets that are truly expendable and those that are foundational. The pressure to make trades is high, but not all trades are beneficial, especially if they dismantle the future for an uncertain present. The retention of Broberg, Hofer, and the key components of the young core would signal a clear commitment to building a competitive team through a measured, long-term approach. It would demonstrate an understanding that while the current season presents challenges, the ultimate goal is to return to sustained contention. These players are not merely trade chips, they are integral parts of the St. Louis Blues' future identity and success. Their continued presence within the organization is not just advisable, but essential for navigating the current transitional period and establishing a pathway back to consistent competitiveness in the National Hockey League. The upcoming trade deadline will serve as a critical juncture, revealing the strategic priorities that will shape the franchise for years to come.